The sun beat down on the dusty streets of Valentine as two formidable men faced off against each other. Arthur Morgan, a rugged outlaw with a heart of gold, stood tall with his trusty revolver in hand. Opposite him stood Joel Miller, a hardened survivor in a post-apocalyptic world, armed with a shotgun and a steely gaze. The tension between the two men was palpable as they eyed each other warily, each sizing up the other's strengths and weaknesses. Arthur Morgan was known for his quick draw and sharpshooting skills, while Joel Miller was a master of close combat and stealth. As the two men circled each other, the sound of their boots echoing off the wooden buildings, it was clear that this would be a battle for the ages. The townspeople had gathered around, eager to witness the showdown between these two legendary figures. With a sudden movement, Joel Miller lunged forward, his shotgun raised and ready to fire. But Arthur Morgan was quicker, his revolver blazing as he fired off shot after shot, each one finding its mark with deadly accuracy. Joel Miller staggered back, blood seeping from his wounds as he struggled to stay on his feet. In a final, desperate move, Joel Miller raised his shotgun and fired, the blast echoing through the streets. But Arthur Morgan was already on the move, dodging the shot with a grace that belied his rough exterior. With a swift motion, he closed the distance between them and delivered a powerful blow that sent Joel Miller crashing to the ground. As the dust settled, it was clear that Arthur Morgan had emerged victorious. His quick reflexes and sharpshooting skills had proven to be too much for Joel Miller to overcome. The townspeople cheered as Arthur Morgan stood victorious, his chest heaving with exertion but a triumphant smile on his face. In the end, it was clear that Arthur Morgan had something that Joel Miller lacked, a combination of skill, determination, and a touch of luck that had carried him to victory. And as he rode off into the sunset, his reputation as a legendary outlaw only grew stronger, cementing his place in the annals of history as one of the greatest gunslingers of all time. In the gritty streets of Liberty City, two formidable figures stood at opposite ends of the criminal underworld. Toni Cipriani, a seasoned mobster with a reputation for ruthlessness and cunning, faced off against Victor Vance, a former soldier turned drug dealer with a thirst for power and revenge. Toni Cipriani had always been a force to be reckoned with. His connections ran deep within the city's criminal organizations, and his ability to manipulate and control those around him was unmatched. He was a master strategist, always thinking several steps ahead of his enemies. What set Toni apart from Victor was his unwavering loyalty to his family and his code of honor. He would do anything to protect those he cared about, even if it meant sacrificing his own ambitions. On the other hand, Victor Vance was a man driven by his desire for power and vengeance. His time in the military had hardened him, giving him the skills and determination to rise through the ranks of the criminal underworld. What Victor lacked in loyalty and honor, he made up for in sheer determination and ambition. He was willing to do whatever it took to achieve his goals, even if it meant betraying those closest to him. As the tension between the two men reached a boiling point, a violent confrontation seemed inevitable. Both Toni and Victor knew that only one of them would come out on top in this deadly game of cat and mouse. The streets of Liberty City were about to run red with blood as these two titans clashed in a battle for supremacy. The differences between Toni Cipriani and Victor Vance were stark. Toni was a man of principles and loyalty, while Victor was driven by his own selfish desires. Toni had the experience and cunning to outsmart his enemies, while Victor had the raw determination and ambition to achieve his goals at any cost. As the final showdown between Toni and Victor loomed, the city held its breath, waiting to see which of these two formidable figures would emerge victorious. In a world where only the strong survived, only time would tell who would truly come out on top in this deadly game of power and betrayal.